Time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. And Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Hello.
This is not a medical show, as you.
Yes.
We had a bad day in Chicago, and we're barely ready. I apologize. I didn't update the crawl because we had a little bit of a blizzard and a little late getting into the studio tonight. Anyway, welcome to Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks to Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts, the cast and crew, you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It's a sad day in Chicago.
It is. Yes.
I mean, you go down the pantheon of what could have been, right? What if Bo Jackson wouldn't have been on the field for the play that ended his career, effectively? You know, Grant Hill, Bill Walton's broken foot. They talk about Penny Hardaway. I was never sold on Penny Hardaway as being a star. All these pitchers like Mark Pryor. Like Mike Harkey.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on it depends on what you're talking about, though. I mean, Bo Jackson was successful, and Mark Pryor was not. I mean,
he was successful.
Grant Hill was successful, and did Grant Hill win a championship though?
Oh, he did at Duke, and I think.
No, I know in college. I don't know if he did.
I can't remember if he was on the Piston team,
but
that
he
won,
played 13 years in the NBA.
Yeah, but he was a shadow of himself.
Sure.
Bill Walton, backup with the Celtics, a shadow of the guy that won the title in Portland in '77, and you look at Derrick Rose now, and you're kind of like, is he going to be one of these guys? Is he going to be one of these guys that here's a Hall of Fame career that just your body had just couldn't hold up.
Right.
I mean, Gale Sayers is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right. Pre-arthroscopy. Right. Anyway, torn meniscus again.
Same injury he had last year. So he's torn the ACL, he's torn the MCL, then he had the...
Well, they fixed that. That's the other knee.
Right.
That's his jumping knee, right? So, because if you're right-handed, you jump off your left foot. And I'm just sort of like, is this guy like totally snake-bitten or what? I mean, we had high hopes for the Bulls. Patrick Kane's hurt. I mean, it's just a really bad day in Chicago now. It's snowing, this lake effect snow. The roads are trashed.
Yeah. We're supposed to get more on Sunday.
On Sunday?
Yeah.
That's just great. And I'm missing the Gold Rush in Game of War, so I'm taking one for the team.
Jesus.
Anyway.
Yes, but the new Kid Rock CD is out, so that should make everything well in the world.
Kid Rock?
Yes.
That's Detroit, right?
He's from Detroit.
He's from Detroit?
Yes.
Okay, I mix him up with the wrestler. Isn't there a wrestler named The Rock or Kid Rock?
The Rock, yes.
Well, he's in movies now.
He's from Miami. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. They don't look anything alike. If you had two people that you put next to each other that would look completely different.
I thought Kid Rock was like a WWE wrestler for years.
No.
Wow. It's what happens when, I get lost on Spotify. I don't really listen to the radio. If I'm in the car, I'm listening to people yakking. So, I mean, I don't know. The Grammys are on. I don't know who any of these people are. Oh, hey, Prince. He looks different. Oh, yeah, because he's 20 years older.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm out of it with that stuff. Meghan Trainor.
Anyway.
Right.
So I thought maybe that would cheer you up, but apparently not. So
Nah,
it cheered me up, though.
Diana Krall's got a new CD. That didn't cheer me up.
I have no idea who that is. See, now we're even.
Anyway, so I wanted to talk.
Do you want to disclaim some things first before we get involved here?
We're already done. Yeah, go ahead.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
And we wish you luck with that. I'm sorry I didn't have time to update the crawl, so we'll just have to go through the Premier League. We'll do that later. I picked the draw.
You did. Well, there were 3 out of 5 draws, so you had a good chance.
At least I got one of them. I mean, I think those are hard to pick. I think the draws are hard to pick.
The two that didn't, I had one pick. I picked a draw on one of the two
that did not draw.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get extra points this week. Yeah, we'll go through the Premier League and we'll look at tomorrow night's. I put in
our sponsors wondering when we're going to start talking about darts. So I think we should
we did
postpone.
Literally
it as long
just
as
mentioned
possible.
Premier League.
Let's go back to basketball. Anyway,
Well, and then the other thing is, I'm going through an injury right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all talking about how, did he come back too soon? La-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. So, okay, I want to talk about team building and self-evaluation tonight. And we may we may as well do that now, and then we'll do the Premier League in the second half of the show. So I'm injured, right? I'm on injured reserve. We had league last night, and I didn't even show up.
Correct.
And I told you why I didn't show up. The biggest reason was I knew that if I showed up, I would play.
Mm-hmm.
Even if, love of my life ditched my darts, I'd be like, these are
I'll
close.
just take those.
I can beat him with these.
And
I'll beat you with your own darts.
None of us were going to say, no, Steve, you should
play.
Play.
And so I was kind of like, well, okay, this is the plan. I'm taking 2 complete weeks off. So this Sunday I can start throwing
And
again.
your arm is getting better.
Well, the swelling is gone. The lump is gone. It feels good. I have total range of motion like I normally have. It looks like I lost weight. I mean, it was really big.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, I don't know if you really took that close of a look at it. Not just the lump, but the entire forearm was like twice the size of my other one. So, I don't have to ice it anymore. The swelling's gone. So there's your medical update on Steve's arm. So your journey from the heart of darkness of total suckiness that you had earlier, let's have an update on that. How to go last night?
Well, it's still a long journey. I guess that's about all I could say. It went. Yeah.
Played.
It's hard to say if it went better. I won my singles match. My opponent gave me a few extra darts, which I actually took advantage of. So, and
that was in the 501 singles.
501 singles. I had to take out a double 2, which I actually. You release that dart, it's a bad one, and it kind of goes lobbing in the air, and somehow it just falls in there, and you're like, woo, I'll take that, and I won't say anything. I'm going to go grab it as quick as possible and move on to the next leg. And, I'm sure people watching probably noticed the flight of the dart, and some people might think, some people probably don't care, but some people might know, wow, that
See, I'm the kind of
teammate.
I'm the kind of teammate that would be like, you should be totally embarrassed.
Yes, right.
That went in, and you should apologize to your opponent and say that was. The problem is a lot of people don't. Well, if I say it, they don't believe me. But I mean, if you say that to somebody, they're just going to be like, "Oh, you're rubbing it in." People believe what they want to believe, and if they're in a bad mood, they tend to take the worst interpretation of something.
Well, you think about it though. I mean, you turn around to somebody and say, "Sorry, I won. That was lucky." I mean, they're not. People don't accept that.
Well, I'll tell you, these people that flight in a winning double from an inch away. I haven't gotten any apologies on that. And okay,
I do agree with you though, because it was lucky. I mean, I knew it was lucky. If somebody said it to me, sorry, that was lucky, I would believe him because I've been there.
Yeah.
But some people just don't take it that way, and
anyway,
so therefore I don't say it. I just fist pumped and said, okay, let's move on, and then we went to the third leg.
And the third leg, you got extra darts.
Third leg was back and forth. We both got extra darts. We didn't play well, and I did some really bad math and thought I had 85, and I knew I had 81, and I was going for the trip 15, and
dunked it into the 2.
After I dumped it into the 2, my head said, well, 85 minus 2 is 83.
Which is correct.
Yes.
You are correct,
yes,
sir.
That was what my mind said, so even though I had 79, I threw it to 17. thinking I was going to throw out the trip 17 to leave myself having 83. I was going to leave myself 32.
Now I'm confused.
What
were you really on?
I was on 81.
So then you threw a 2.
Hit a deuce for 79.
But you thought you were on 81 and you thought you were on 85?
Well, after I knew I was on 85 because I was going to go up there.
But you weren't on 85.
No, correct. I knew I was on 81 because I was going to go up there and go trip 15, double 18.
Okay.
Apparently,
Peter Evison way.
After I hit the deuce, my mind said, well, you missed the 85, so now
you're on 83.
And then, so I, typically went for the trip 17 to leave 32. And then when I hit the single 17, I thought I had 66 left, so I threw it the double bull, which I happened to hit, thinking I've got 16 left, and then the chalker writes down 12, and I went, what did I just do?
It happens. I don't know.
And then, and then my opponent, who was, she was on about 102 or something like that, and got it down to a very manageable double. I missed the 6, missed the double 6, hit the single 6, and then Flighter just like lofted another one right into the triple 3.
Airmailed it.
Not even close to the double 3, which I need to win. My opponent was nice enough to me to not take it out, and I did basically the same thing. I went outside 6, single 6, and this time I actually had a thought in my brain and fired it into the double 3. So
yeah, and the thought that you had in your brain was fire it in there, right? Because if you're going to miss 2 inches high, which I call airmailing it, I mean it's just not as aggressive enough a stroke to get everything out there and throw it on a line, and like you're talking about lobbing it and stuff like that, and you just don't see that kind of play from professionals. You very seldom see a lack of arm speed. If anything, you see more, right? And it's it's kind of funny.
It was pretty much, if I'm going to hit this, I have to fire it in there. I mean, So thank God I got a second whack at it. And
you hit it. That's good.
Then I had a couple bad games. Well, one game we just got outplayed, me and my partner. And then, I played the last 501 doubles, and I played pretty well. My partner took out the last leg, so we won. But overall, as a team, we struggled hitting doubles. We actually won 3 out of the 4 singles matches and only didn't win a doubles match until the 501 doubles. So.
Yeah, our doubles record is really terrible. And that's where I want to, talk about team building.
Well,
right?
And we had a guy show up that is trying to get there every week, but he doesn't make it. But he didn't get there late, and he probably had 9 warm-up darts, and then all of a sudden, boom, here you are in a singles match, or actually it was a doubles match first. But so he did not throw up to his capabilities by any means. Because
does he listen to the show?
Probably not.
All right, don't rip him.
No, I wasn't ripping him. He'd probably tell you the same thing.
Yeah,
he knew he wasn't playing well.
It's a very difficult situation to, kind of in the middle of the match when everybody's kind of in whatever groove they're going to be in for the night, and then you go in there cold and you have to compete with them.
Right.
I mean, it's very difficult. It's easy to get behind early, get behind the 8 ball, start pressing, and now you're out of whack. And then things snowball from there.
And you're trying to figure out how do I get this dart to go straight. And so, I mean, overall, from a standpoint is we actually really didn't play that well, and I think we actually snuck a couple games out. Somehow we lost 5-4, but we probably deserved to lose 7-2.
Well, we had a week like a few weeks ago. It was like that where we should have lost.
And I believe it was against the same team when we were at their house. Yeah.
Well, can't blame me for this one.
So,
I didn't play good last time we played them. But the self-evaluation thing, I mean, is kind of like, I think, and I've said this before, if you're an electronic player, you get instant feedback after every leg if you choose to look at it. I mean, I've seen a lot of people just zip through it because they know it wasn't a good one, like picture-worthy or something. So they just hit the button, boom, 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 on to the next game. And even like the Darts Live matches that I've seen, which, by the way, did we mention that the America's Tour's back?
No, we did not.
Well, okay, I don't know if the rumor, we'll call it a rumor, but it seems like the first America's Tour stop's going to be in Chattanooga in April.
Okay.
I want to say April 17th, but don't quote me on that. So I haven't had time to, track down Rob Heckman and see what the real plan is, but there will be an America's Tour. I think that they're not monkeying around. I mean, they're trying to calculate what the payouts are going to be. They weren't definite when I was in Huntsville. So I may go down to Chattanooga. I think Chattanooga is like a really pretty town when you drive through it. And I've been to like their
just don't stop.
Well, no, because
what does that mean? It's a pretty town if you drive through it.
That's what I mean. I used to have to drive my mom to Bradenton, which is by Tampa, twice a year.
Yeah.
Right. I would drive her down there in November, fly back because she wanted to have her car there. And then in April, I would fly there and then drive her back. So, and then you always pass through Chattanooga, and it was always like, really pretty. I stopped in there once. I thought it was a pretty cool town, and apparently that's where the Crystal Burger was invented, which is the precursor of White Castle.
Oh, really? Okay.
They had them in Huntsville.
The Crystal Burger?
The Crystal Burger.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so it's an educational show.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of weird because, you ask people, well, how'd you play? Or, what happened in a match? And when I first started playing, I could literally play an entire singles event and tell you every single dart I threw. And
I'm sure that was very annoying.
Well, you're safe now.
Of course, my dad was like that on the golf course. He could recount it.
Yeah, I used to
count it around 18 years ago.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but I mean, when I walked off a golf course, I could tell you every single shot I hit, why I hit it, what I did, ad nauseum. As much as you want to know, I had this. It was kind of a side hill lie. It wasn't really against the grain, but it was a little bit against the grain, and I was kind of like, well, okay, instead of firing at the flag, I'm just going to go like about 10 feet left of the flag and let it fade in there. And then I was kind of like, well, I don't really want to use a fade grip, right? So then I was thinking, you know what? Why don't I just play it back in my stance and see if I could spin it out of this? Because it's not that deep. On and on and on and on. So that's the weird thing about golf. I mean, you could like literally.
Yeah.
Do you see ESPN covering cricket now?
Yes.
They got cricket in the highlight. How did that happen?
It's the second most watched sport in the world.
Cricket?
Yeah.
Matches go on for days. You think this show's long. And the bat is like the size of somebody's thigh, and the ball's really small. I don't know how you miss it. Watching this big chunky dude just knocking it, and then foul balls are fair. I mean, you could hit it in any direction. It's the
how
wackiest
can it be a foul
game.
ball if it's fair?
Say again?
How can it be a foul ball if it's fair?
Well, because there's no fair foul. It's just like this big
every
circle.
ball is fair.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no like.
So there are no foul balls.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just sort of like, it's not really conducive to pitching or bowling. It's not really.
Yeah.
So did you know how cricket got its name?
No, I have no idea.
Darts cricket comes from that cricket.
Seriously?
Behind the batter is like 3 sticks with 3 little, they look like balls on top of them. Like, so there's 3 like little sticks.
So you're actually watching this cricket
that's the
on
wicket.
ESPN.
No.
Okay.
No, somebody looked this up for me.
Oh.
So if you swing and
Thank you,
miss,
Sam.
if you swing and miss, and the ball that is pitched or bowled knocks those 3 things off, then you're out, apparently, or something like that.
Okay.
So that's where you get the 3 things to close a number.
Right.
So and there was some other term in there. This is a terrible explanation, but that's why it's cricket. Although somebody in Britain told me they call it tactics, which I found hilarious. Tactics.
Big betting in cricket, apparently, according to somebody in the chat here. So why don't we?
I don't even know what you're betting on.
Why don't we? Well, I don't either. But
you want to catch up? We'll take a break.
We'll take a break and we'll figure out what you're betting on.
Okay, we'll be back in a minute
because I might be interested.
And we'll try not to talk about cricket. Listen, talk with Mystery Mark Steve Panselmo. We'll be right back.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Okay, back for the second quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. Where did we leave off? We were talking about cricket?
Yeah, we were talking about how the name of cricket and darts got invented by the game of cricket.
Oh, well, enough of that.
But
it was just...
You had a lead-in that we somehow went to cricket.
Yeah, well...
About...
how do you evaluate yourself?
That was it.
How do you evaluate yourself? Most dart players, it's kind of weird. I mean, electronic players, they get their feedback and you know, I threw like a 4.77. I'm like, I don't know if that's good or not. You know what I mean? I have nothing to compare it to. If you can average a 5 count in a cricket game, I think that's pretty good. If you're averaging a ton in a 0-1 game,
to me,
you know, round after round after round, I think that's pretty good.
How do you evaluate? If you evaluate yourself, you're comparing it to something, right? So, like, I evaluate myself compared to how I used to be able to throw, which means, therefore, my evaluations are always
negative,
very negative.
Yeah,
you know, but I also do understand that the amount I used to play back then compared to what I play now, I don't expect to be throwing like that, but I also know that I can. You know, does that make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it with guys coming back where if you don't lower your expectations, you're going to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right?
And it's hard to do that.
Yeah, and
which I'm trying to do.
You know, talking about being in good form and how long are you in good form, right? Like I saw Soldier Gates in Alabama, and he didn't win.
Mm.
Is that like the first time he hasn't won in a year? I mean, I didn't get a chance to ask him if he was in good form or not. You know, it's kind of like these tournaments are very hard. The format is very difficult.
How hard is
some
it,
people
though,
don't handle it that well.
How hard is it to say you're a top-level dart player? How hard is it to be in good form and also realize that you just got beat? Somebody just was also in really good form. You know what I mean?
That's obvious. I mean, those are the most fun games to play.
Right,
if
like,
you're
say
banging,
you missed that one double.
Wow.
Is it easy to realize that, you know what, I had 96 and I had my last dart at the double, whatever. I had one shot at it and he took out 85. And is it easier to realize that? Or is it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't speak for everybody, but, you know, I've talked to guys after matches that I've watched and then walked away wondering what match they were talking about. Because a lot of the top-level players are sort of like, oh, I should have won. I missed this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should have won. I missed this. It was so funny. I played Kevin Painter in Atlanta, God, years ago, in like some PDC thing. And he beat me 6-4. But it was 4-4, and I missed a double to go up 5-4, and then the next game was on my throw. So I had it on my racket. Right, I had I missed like double 16, just put it on the outside wire, and then, you know, he took it out, and then the next leg, I think he went like ton 4. I think he threw like a 12 darter or something. Mm-hmm. But afterwards, he was very complimentary to my game. He said, "Oh, you played great." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I missed that one double. That really hurt me." He's like, "Yeah, but I missed a double in the leg before,
sure,
and that really helped you."
Right.
And I was like, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, my initial perception is like, I should have won. And his perception is, well, I gave you a chance. Yeah, we're even because I missed one too.
Yeah.
You know, and I was kind of like, oh, great, you know. And it's just sort of, you know, in a single match, you know, most of the top guys will say it was on them. Very seldom do I hear somebody say, oh, well, he smoked me. You know, I've heard some guys say, well, I totally didn't have it. I got killed. I played bad.
I mean, obviously, you
very seldom hear somebody say.
Unless you're 100% on your doubles, you know, you miss a double, you have a chance of losing if the game is, if each person is playing well, right? You know,
well,
even if you take, somebody's going to take out a 160.
You got 3 darts at 40 as long as you hit one of them. Right. You don't have to be 100%.
What I'm saying is you got 85 and you leave yourself a 1 dart shot at the out and you miss and the guy takes out a 150, you know. A lot of players are going to be like, well, I missed that 1 dart.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, he made a great shot, but he shouldn't have gotten to it.
Right.
That's on me.
Which means you're expecting yourself to be 100% of your doubles if the situation was like that all the time. Which is very hard to ask for anybody.
That's
almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. Well,
so what I'm getting at is so from that aspect, how do you evaluate your game from what you're talking about?
I evaluate my game based on how I expect myself to play. There's a certain level of consistency that I expect from myself in my game. And if I achieve that level of consistency, I'm liable to say, I played all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm stringing together 12 and 13 darters, 3 out of 4 or 5 legs, I'm like, I played pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you've ever heard me say I played absolutely awesome. Right? I mean, I don't remember even tournaments that I've won, and I've won tournaments in 15 states, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I counted them once, and then I counted them once, and then Ray Carver's like, "Well, I've won tournaments on 4 different continents," and I'm like,
"You're like, well, I'm done counting."
Yeah. I mean, I only played once outside the country, and I came in second, so whatever. I'm just saying that, even tournaments that I've won, events that I've won, I never came away saying, I played better than anybody, and nobody could touch me, and la-di-da-di-da. You get moments like that. Right. You get moments where it's like, geez, I can't miss. This is awesome. But then, then the match is over, and you got to play another match, and can you sustain it? I played a match.
Yeah, well, anyway, real quick, somebody asked in the chat, are we talking about best of threes? We're not talking about best of threes.
Not necessarily best of threes. We're just talking about in general.
Tournaments.
Yeah, I've played long format stuff. I've played in stretches. I've played, pretty good in the long format stuff.
Whatever, you're evaluating your game after a long format, whether you're playing nothing but cricket, it doesn't matter. We're talking about how do you evaluate.
I mean, I've had some pretty quick best of 3 matches. I've had matches that literally took like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You go up there and you throw like a 15 and a 13 and you win both diddles and you take the ticket back.
Yeah, right.
And then you're just like, geez, what kind of
now I gotta wait.
Bam,
I got to wait an hour for the next match. Right.
Or an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. So now what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I've got it going great. Hurry up and wait, right? So that's kind of infuriating. Actually, we got an email from somebody who said that they used round wire boards in Syracuse.
Okay.
And I'm just like, really? So I didn't
have they not done that, but they
I don't remember round wire boards there when I was there 4 years ago or something like that. I haven't been back since, but that's a hard one for me to get to. Because I prefer to drive, and it's like the weather is like totally not really conducive to driving, especially this year. This year's bad.
The majority of darts in the U.S. is best of 3, but everybody.
Well, that's not.
They're trying to change that, too.
I would not say the majority of darts is best of 3. I would say that most of the traditional Diddle Tour ADO regular tournaments that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years are best of 3, but they are making at least the 501 is kind of like best of 5 more often, and they are putting in longer format events. Nashville put in a long format 01. Virginia Beach has the long format cricket on Fridays now. And I think that's what the players want. I mean, whether or not, the tournaments can muster the, whatever it takes to get it done. I mean, some tournaments I mean, you only do it once a year. You only have one tournament a year.
It doesn't happen overnight to make this change.
Well, no, but at the same time, it's like the independents that run their own tournaments are deathly afraid if they make a change that,
nobody's going
to show up. And
sure.
And the people that they talk to are normally like the locals. Like, they don't talk to guys like me. They'll talk to the local players, because if you don't get local support for a tournament, I don't think that the traveling players can really, of themselves, make it a successful tournament. You have to get local turnout. Well, I was talking to Jill about it. Jill's like, how come we're not playing like, round robin singles and all this? And I'm like, a lot of the local women don't want to play it. A lot of people don't want to go to a dart tournament and at noon start firing darts nonstop until 5.
Mm-hmm.
They're not used to it.
Right.
They don't have the stamina
they're
for
not,
it.
But they're also, a lot of those people
And
are
they're
going
not,
for the party.
Yeah. They're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a convention.
Hang out, throw some darts, drink some beers, go to the bar,
sure,
go to your room, watch some TV.
See everybody you haven't seen in a while.
Have
I mean,
a conversation.
That's one of the best parts of like going to Huntsville was I got to see people I haven't seen. Everybody's like, man, what happened to you, man? Because it's like literally one of the first tournaments I've been to since Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, 9 months away. Hey, you look familiar. I mean, that's fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Virginia
and
Beach,
what
too, because I see all the
do.
East Coast people
Right.
in Virginia Beach in a couple of weeks. That's going to be great. And they're doing a good thing, too. They take advanced registration. So, like, my entry fees are already paid. I really don't have to do anything but show up and play. Fill out a couple of slips, whatever. I mean, I like that. We're getting a suite this year.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
You should come. You'd enjoy it.
When is it?
Take some days off. March 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Okay.
Something like that. Whatever that weekend
I'll look into
is.
that.
It's the weekend before St. Patty's Day.
Oh.
And then I think the week before that is Indianapolis. I may sneak down there and play maybe one day. I may go to Indianapolis and like go play the singles.
I think I'm reserving one of my days off to go down south to hang out with my old bros for the Kentucky Derby first weekend of May.
First weekend of May is a tournament in Cleveland.
I will not be there. I'm not going to a dart tournament to watch the Kentucky Derby.
Well, I know this is something. Actually, the Starbucks is really nice there. There's a Starbucks right outside
Do
Churchill
they have a
Downs.
TV?
No, they don't. It's. I like Kentucky. I like going down there. I'm just afraid, I'm going to get swallowed up by a sinkhole like the Corvette Museum. Did you see? They had video of somebody in, I don't know where they were. They were getting off the subway.
Yes, off the bus. It was off the bus.
No, it was the subway.
Oh, I just heard. I didn't see the video. I heard it on the news, and they said bus. But anyway, and there were people that didn't fall in the sinkhole that saw them go down.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of looking at them going, what?
Literally 2 people, and then the sidewalk and they just disappeared.
Yeah.
So they must have fallen at least like 6 feet.
It was 5
or whatever.
feet. They said it was a 5x5 hole, and they were.
Well, then they weren't very tall, or
minor
they
injuries,
fell.
but yeah, they just disappeared.
This is very strange stuff going on these days. Sinkholes everywhere.
But on the news, they said you wouldn't see that happen in the United States. And then the other guy says, yeah, they just swallow up whole houses.
Yeah,
like in Florida,
right.
the whole house disappears.
Yeah, it's strange.
But
okay, so
right.
Yeah, as far as the self-evaluation, where are we on time?
Well, we can try and we should finish this
because
self-evaluation.
So what I was saying is like I look at my game and it's not like I have unrealistic expectations. I don't go into a tournament like Darren. Hey, I'm going to win. I look at the tournament like if it's a tournament in Chicago, I look at it like, well, I should win. Right? There's nobody. I should win. And then, when I go on the road, I'm like, well, if I play well, I should win. And then the whole battle becomes, well, can you play well?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Given, whatever's going on, whatever distractions you got going. I mean, most of the guys, somebody argued with me. Somebody disagreed with this. Tell me what you think. I said that if every like dart player had a tattoo on their forehead that said how many hours a week they played, that the people like Darren Young and pick anybody, DJ Sayer, Darren Young, Danny Baggish, whoever, their number would be higher than almost anybody else's, right? And then somebody argued with me about this, but I was convinced that like when you go to a tournament and you look at like who's playing well, these are the people that are putting the most time into it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that that's really arguable. And then this guy's like, well, no, wait a minute, I know people that play 5 nights a week, so their number would be really high. And I'm like thinking, well, I don't think like blind draws and league count.
It's
it's not the same
hours.
thing.
Just because you're sitting around for 8 hours and playing 3 matches doesn't mean you had 8 hours of practice.
Yeah, you don't get 8 hours for that. No, this is board time.
Yeah.
This is board time.
Yeah.
And so all the individual hours you spend by yourself practicing
for 5 nights a week, My board time would not be
your board time would
6
be an hour and a
hours
half.
day. Yeah.
It'd be an hour and a half.
Right.
So, I mean, the fact that you're out 5 nights a week, I don't know.
And
I guess you
just kinda
DVR
hold,
everything.
You kind of hold some darts.
Yeah, I you know what I mean? And then doubles is like, well...
I do agree with you on that. I mean, but that stands to reason. It stands to reason that the people with the most board time are going to be the people that are being genuinely more successful at these tournaments. Yes, granted, somebody could just
I mean, some people have some people
staying it over a year. I would agree with you that even the guy that could come into a tournament with a very small amount of board time and kind of run the table, he's not going to sustain that over a year's worth of tournaments, however many.
No, it can't be done. No, it can't be done. And it's kind of weird. I mean, the one guy I look at schedule wise that I'm like, this guy's pretty smart is Widmer. Jimmy Widd tends to like cluster his events like within 2 or 3 weeks. And then, not play for a while and then, go again for like play 2 or 3 weekends in a row, take 6 weeks off, play 2 or 3 weekends in a row. And then, in there is like a bigger tournament, like, because he plays like the ADO Nationals and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's a pretty good way to do it. Like, Virginia Beach, the only reason I want to go to Indianapolis the week before is I just want some tune-up matches, right? So they have cricket on Sunday. Maybe I'll go in there and drive down there and play cricket singles. It's like a 4-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to play all weekend. So maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. But you got to get practice.
See,
time
I would
in.
consider just driving to India for a Sunday. I could do that.
For a Sunday, want to go down to Indy on Sunday and just sort of
depends on when it is.
We got to leave early.
Well, that's fine.
It's the March 7th or whatever. It's the week before Virginia Beach.
Right.
So March 5th, 4th or 5th. I don't know. You should show up at a tournament.
So it's next weekend. Not this coming weekend. It's next weekend.
Yeah, like 10 days or something.
Yeah, March 1st is Sunday.
Yeah. Can you believe February's gone?
No.
That was fast.
Because it's freezing outside.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about Chicago's weather because apparently everybody's weather is bad. So,
but,
all
right,
we did the Ice Road Darters. Let's take a break. We'll come back, do the Premier League. I don't know where we are in time.
Well, we're halfway through the show.
Okay, we could do the Premier League next. And then, we never got to after the Premier League, remind me to do this, like, league pay league structure. We haven't done that in a month. Are you listening? Listen to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve Pannonselman. We're a little frazzled, but we'll be right back anyway.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Okay, back for the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
The DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. I mean, I just keep looking at that kneecap. I know. I was like, I thought it was a good idea at the time. Maybe it isn't. Okay, so it was week 3 or week 2 last week?
3.
Week 3 of the Premier League. We made our picks, and to be honest, we should be on national TV because our picks pretty much stink.
Oh, they're awful.
Right. And, you watch these guys, like the pro football guys, before I think this is going to win, that's going to win. And you look at their records.
Your picks this week actually really weren't that bad.
They weren't?
No.
You said I got the draw. Well, there were 3 draws.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Actually, when you look at it, your picks were actually really good.
All right, well, let's do the rundown.
Mine were
Yours were
about as good as my personal dart game.
Oh dear. Okay. You're really hard on yourself.
I am.
When you talk about your game, I mean, you tend to like, when you're playing quote for real, you I don't know, it's like your attitude changes, you tighten up a little bit and you have a hard time just throwing like, your natural thing. But when you're just like playing around, you're fine.
I
mean,
would
you just
have
need
a hard
to play
time
more,
arguing.
Play more often.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's the other funny thing. I didn't really have a chance to practice that much this week.
Oh, yeah?
Because I went to the auto show on Sunday and work and everything, and then I threw darts on Thursday night. I could only throw for 15 minutes. My cats went bonkers.
Oh, you have new cats.
I have new cats.
Apparently, we're scheduling a visit.
They were the funniest. They just hopped on the back of the chair and stared at the darts. And
oh, yeah. They'll try to grab them in midair. They're nuts.
My light shining on my dartboard, the one cat kept going, and it's a bendable light, and it kept going up there and bending the light down. and disturbing the whole thing, so I had to keep stopping and putting the light back, and I was like, I can't do this. So I tried actually to get there. I usually warm up for a couple hours at home because I have Tuesdays off before darts last night, and I'm like, I can't do it. So I actually tried to get to the bar a little early so I could warm up and I'm gonna have to lock the cats up.
I only have 6 words for you. Anyone can play under ideal conditions.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
I'm literally gonna have to lock them up if I'm gonna practice for like 2 hours.
Eventually they'll get bored with it.
Well, I know, they're only 5 months old. So.
I mean, they're gonna climb over everything anyway.
But anyway,
so.
it was hilarious.
Mitts and Hobbs.
Yeah. So anyway,
you're the only guy I know that would name a cat Hobbs after Roy Hobbs and not the Hobbs of Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Calvin and Hobbes was a funny comic, but Roy Hobbs is The Natural is one of my favorite movies.
I do like that movie. I was always
Fantastic.
a big Kim Basinger fan.
Well,
but
who isn't?
I mean, Calvin and Hobbes is like in the top 3 cartoons of all time.
Possibly, yeah.
The Far Side was I always thought hilarious, and that was number 2. I actually went.
I was always a fan of Garfield.
Yeah, I don't
know if I'd put that in the top 3, but
no. I went
the
to
Far Side's hysterical.
Far Side, they actually at the LA Museum of Contemporary Art, they had all the original Far Sides just lined up in an art exhibit. I've never been in a museum where, and I'm kind of the guy I'm the giggle at the funeral, right? I crack jokes at funerals because I don't want to be sad.
I do too.
But I've never been in a museum where everybody was like frickin' laughing out loud and just, oh man, that was fun. That was a fun night. But number 1's Doonesbury for me. By far the best comic ever.
Okay.
I was such a fan of Doonesbury that I would tune into the morning CBS show to see Jane Pauley because she's married to Gary Trudeau who does Doonesbury, and I would have Doonesbury goggles on looking at Jane Pauley with these like sick fantasies. It was sorry, personal moment there.
I digress. How
I
about
digress. Let's get back to darts. Really.
All right, so let's start with the first match was James Wade against Chizzy.
Wade against Chizzy.
Where I picked Chizzy and you picked a draw.
I picked a draw.
And it was a
draw.
6-6.
6-6. All right.
So
what was we got stats on that one?
Well, yeah, I'm going to have to scroll down and scroll back. All right. So yeah, Wade, let's see. Both 93-90 averages, and they're just basically the same.
Yeah, look at all the ton 40s Wade through.
Yeah. He actually threw 6 more ton 40s. And
Chizzy got him on the ton 80s.
He threw at a lower average.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing with Chizzy. I mean, Chizzy just scores. If the guy could finish as well as, say, Anderson or Van Gerwen or Taylor or Van Barneveld, he'd be up there. He's just not. He doesn't do it.
6 out of 20 and 6 out of 22 for the two of them. That's not that. That's
6 out of. If you're below 1 out of 3, then you're vulnerable.
Right.
Is kind of how I look at it. So,
So
those
you
are kind of disappointing doubles averages.
You get a check there for the draw. I picked Chizzy, so
I get like, what did we say, 4 points for a draw?
I think we said 3.
It should be more.
It's a point
but,
each,
okay.
and I think we said
We had 3 for, so I get 3 just
we'll
for
have
that
to check
one
the
match.
tape on that
Okay,
one.
all right.
And then we go to Peter Wright and Van Barneveld, and guess what? A draw.
Another draw.
6-6. So we both lose on that one.
How did he get a draw averaging
93? And Van Barneveld averages 102.
with 67% on his doubles,
6 out of 9.
and he doesn't win?
And he threw 2 more ton 80s. And he threw 10. This doesn't make any sense.
That's timing right there.
You throw 10 more tons, 1 less ton 40, 2 more ton 80s. You average 7 points more. Well, he had 147 out, 3 breaks to throw. Yeah,
It's timing. It's like throw your 12 darters on the other guy's throw.
Mm-hmm.
Throw your ton 80s on the other guy's throw. Throw the ton 40s on your throw. Works out way better than the reverse.
right.
Right? Because
I'm pretty sure Van Barneveld's walking away from that one going, what just happened? And Peter
he's
Wright's
had
going,
an interesting 3 weeks.
I just stole that.
Oh, he hasn't shown anything.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks, and Van Barneveld got killed the first week, didn't he? Or did he kill someone else? I
he
can't
killed
remember.
somebody, then he got killed.
Then he got killed.
Yeah.
I mean, he must, and now he's got a draw. He must be like, man, this
throws
is rough.
102 and gets a draw from a 93.
Timing.
All right, so therefore I'm 0 for 2. You're 1.
Yeah, who did I have there?
You're 1-1. We had both at RVB,
Oh, and it was a draw.
but it was a draw.
Okay. Well,
So then we go to Taylor and Bunting, and this was no contest. Phil Taylor 7-1, which we both
Bunting averaged 84.
had. Yeah,
Wow.
to 100 for Phil.
There's a total beatdown. I just and the reason I want to I just don't
Bunting had 3 shots at a double, 1 for 3.
I don't think I swear to God, I think Phil does things in the practice room to people that rattle everyone except maybe Van Gerwen or
Right.
Anderson or Van Barneveld or something. I mean it's literally he must do things in the practice room that are like the Tiger Woods commercial where he was flipping the ball on his club.
Yeah, then he smacks it right.
Or Patrick Kane with the deking drill and stuff like that. I wonder what Taylor does. Hey, I just threw like 17 straight double bulls or something. I mean, he must just – they must watch him throw like 15 straight ton 80s warming up and Phil, gets his black tea and is like, I'm getting close to being dialed in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got to be something like that
And
to
like
make
Hickory
bunting
said, your knees start
stink that
knocking,
bad.
and yeah, you're just
Oh, yeah. So, luckily, 3 pairs of pants and then, you don't hear the clicking.
right.
We got to get him on the show.
So, therefore, I am now 1-2, but you are 2-1.
I'm 2-1.
Then we got the Van Gerwen Gary
And
Anderson match.
this was the match that everybody wanted to see.
Yes, this is the match that I picked to draw in.
Did I take Van Gerwen?
You did.
Yeah, I just think he's playing so well right now. I think what probably happened is, and maybe, well, I mean, you don't go to many tournaments, but when I play League the week after a tournament, I play so great because there's so much less pressure. The pressure these guys, especially Van Gerwen, put on themselves to win the world championship, now that weight is lifted off of him and he can just play, I mean, he's just killing people.
That's one thing, but on the other hand, Gary Anderson was 4 out of 27 in his doubles.
So the real Gary Anderson has showed up.
That is not going to get it done. You're 15% on your doubles. You average a 95. I mean, if he
that's always been his bugaboo. That's always been the knock on Anderson is Anderson can't finish. Anderson can't close the deal. And I thought he was cured.
Well,
because he was finishing really
well. He had
well.
a relapse.
He had a relapse. His doubles are in regression.
Turn your coin in and get a new one.
Poor man.
No, that's too bad.
He'll get it
that's
back
really
together.
too bad.
It's only 1 week.
Literally, if you think about that, a 4 out of 27, 15%. I mean, if he shoots 35%, he wins.
15%. Is that less than 1 out of 6?
Yeah.
Is it? Is 1 out of 6 12 or 18? Somebody do the math real quick.
1 out of 6.
Yeah. What's the percentage? 1 out of 6, 2 out of 12, 3 out of 18. I mean, is his average worse than that? I'm kind of blanking. I thought it was 18%.
Yeah, it's 18. Right. It's 18.
1/8 is 12%, like 12.5. I think 1/6 is like 18%.
Right.
What's 18
So he's
times 6? 60.
Three out of
18 and change. So what was his average? 15?
15%.
So it was less than 1 out of 6. Mm-hmm. That means he needs 3 rounds to take out a double. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you win 4 legs?
And he
How do you win 4 legs?
Well, because he hit 4 doubles.
Well, okay.
And the other
That's the simple answer.
The other 23 he missed.
I don't know. I'm sort of astounded by that. That's really woeful. That is really sadly woeful.
Because he actually didn't shoot that poorly, obviously, to get down to that number. I mean,
Van Gerwen played pretty good, looks like to me. What was he?
He was only 7 out of 18. He was 39% of his doubles.
Anderson got 4 more darts at a double in 11 legs. That's pretty close.
No, he got 9 more.
9 more in 11 legs?
27 doubles shots against 18.
Wow. He must be disappointed.
He just missed. That's the only thing I could come up with. I'm sure he's not.
His self-evaluation after that match would be, I believe me missed me doubles.
I believe I should have won that.
Me finishing was poor.
All right, so then
this is rubbish.
We go to the last match.
I can't do accents.
No, I can't. We go to the last match, which is Adrian Lewis against Kim Hybricks, and we both picked Lewis, and guess what happened?
Another draw.
Another draw.
What was the story on that? They play even? Or just end up
Hybricks
even?
Was 88-92 for Lewis, but Hybricks had better double outs. Yeah, they basically played even.
Looks like 80 scored a little better.
Yeah.
So he had...
but he missed more doubles.
6 of 17 versus 6 of 14.
Yeah.
Throw a blanket over him. That's pretty much the same.
So in effect, you got 3. So in effect, you actually went 3 and 2, but
with a draw.
Your 2 losses were draws, but you picked a draw. So you won 3 and lost 2, but the 2 you lost, you didn't have a chance of winning anyway because
they ended up being draws.
Me, on the other hand, I won 1.
Okay. Well, we can calculate. We're going to have to keep like a running total and stick it somewhere in the crawl next week. But as long as we're ahead, we'll outrun the crawl.
I do not have. Let's take our last break. So
we'll take a break and then we will preview tomorrow's matches. Good idea. All right. This will be a quick one. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve Pelzelmo. We'll be right back.
You are now and forevermore warned that you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
Okay, back for the fourth quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks. Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts, Aaron, our musical director, Jeff Dotson. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget, you can find us on Facebook. You could find us. I'm going to get us an Instagram account. What do you think about that? Should we go on Instagram? I mean, I haven't been.
You know what that does?
I haven't been using Twitter.
Absolutely nothing to me.
I haven't been using Twitter, but I'm going to start using Twitter
do
just because Twitter used to be fun. I don't know. We were using it. We were like tweeting out results and stuff like that, and updates and everything. And I don't know, the way everything is changing. I kind of don't want to use Facebook anymore. I want to use like Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and stuff like that, and just kind of mess around with that stuff.
So I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
Well, but we are on Facebook. We have a YouTube channel, Dart Talk US, all squished together, one word, and our archive is up there. Blah, I can't talk. And we have a website, Dart Talk US, so visit us today.
Larry Butler, Bruce Davies, and Dan Olson, to name
some heavy hitters.
Along with two others.
Yeah, I guess Doug Boehm won the 501 singles in Syracuse. So
beats
against
good competition.
Yeah, well, hey, all those guys, Bruce Davies, I've seen that guy. He was on a tear a couple of years ago where he was practically invincible. And Dan Olson, I mean, whenever he shows up, he wins.
Mm-hmm. Well, not whenever.
Consummate. I consider
not when
Dan
Doug
Olson.
Boehm is there.
Well, you can't win them all.
No, but I mean, apparently it's
They were talking to Jeff Gordon. I guess he's retiring or semi-retiring or whatever he's doing. I don't really follow NASCAR. But he was saying, you try to win every race, but you realize that you're going to lose a lot of races, and you're still in there pitching. That's how I always look at Dan Olson. I always consider him like a consummate professional. He gets it. He does the best he can. He takes what comes, and he moves on. He's got good perspective. I always liked him.
All right. Speaking of perspective.
Right. This week they are in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
The Premier League is in Belfast.
It is.
Is that how you say
Odyssey
it? Belfast?
Arena. Belfast.
The Odyssey Arena in Belfast.
It's Belfast. Oh, you say it that way? Belfast. Not Belfast?
The Long Good Friday
Belfast.
with the late Bob Hoskins and Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
The one guy's like Belfast.
Belfast.
Yeah, so I thought that's how you said it.
All right. Well, we'll start with we'll start really fast. We got to do this very fast, by the way.
Are we out of time?
Well, especially if you want to get to the
payout. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Hybrix against Chizzy.
I'll take Chizzy because I think that he's probably played at a higher standard so far than Hybrix has. He'll have a chance to win. If he hits the double, he'll win. If you want to take Hybrix, you can. My initial thought.
Thanks for that.
Well, no, my initial. You can. I mean, my initial thought was, that's a draw. That was the first thing that popped in my head was it's a draw.
I actually am going to take Hybrix.
I can't figure him.
I think
he's a great player, but
I think
is he an elite
this is
player?
Breakout week.
You think?
Yeah.
It's about time for some of these guys to kind of put the pedal to the metal and prove that they belong with the elite of the world. Mm-hmm. And some of these guys, to my mind, are kind of on the fence. Like Peter Wright was definitely playing well enough to be there last year. I don't see that right now.
Right.
I don't know. He's not in the best form he's ever been in. He'd be the first guy to admit it. Chizzy will pound the 20. It's, will he finish? I don't know. I'll take him. We'll give him a chance this week.
Well, we differ on that one. So then you got Gary Anderson and James Wade.
There's no way on earth that I would take Wade against Anderson right now. No way. Until I see Wade really string together solid performances, I'm off him. Because I don't believe, as much as these guys have worked to raise the level of their game, I don't see that in Wade. I see Wade just kind of playing the same thing he's always played.
I'm going to take Gary Anderson because I'm going to believe that he's not going to shoot 15% of doubles again next week or tomorrow.
Well, if he does, he might lose. But
exactly.
I think it's safe to say that's an aberration.
Yeah.
You're saying he relapsed. Well, let's see if he gets back on the wagon.
Right.
So we're both on Anderson.
All right. Then you got MVG against Adrian Lewis.
Yeah, it's really tempting to take 80 because this is probably the one guy that Adrian really wants to beat. Deep down, he thinks he had him beat in the World Championships when it was all this commotion and everything, and he really threw a poor double. He had match dart in his hand and just threw like a waffle dart. It was horrible.
Oh, I know what those feel like.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's still kicking himself about that. I mean, you listen to some of these ex-jocks talk. There was a lot of talk the way the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl with the interception at the end of the game. And, they're talking to people who've been through these, like, crushing defeats and everything, and they're like, well, you let it go, but you don't forget about it, kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And I was kind of thinking, I'm not like that. Like, I've had darts to – I thought about this today. I lost to Kevin McDine in the last leg of the last set, and I had a whack at 78, and I went, like, fat, went for tops, and it never had a chance. And as much as I wish that I had that dart back, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. Somebody's reminding me that I missed 3 at tops to win the triples here in Philly a few years ago. I'm like, geez, I let that go in 20 minutes. It's like, I missed. I've missed before. I'll miss again.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of – I would rather miss 3 at a double in the final than I would in the first round where I got to sit around for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to.
It's a basketball shooting mentality too. I mean, keep shooting until you.
Yeah. Some people
they'll go in eventually, right?
Yeah. Some people have some pretty bizarre self-belief that I think is delusional. Right? Oh, I'm going to keep shooting until I hit it. Well, you've never hit it. So what makes you think suddenly, it's just going to kick in is not really, I don't trust that as being like
Well, it depends
honest.
on who you're talking to. If you've never hit it, then keep shooting until you hit it is irrational.
Well,
if you hit it at a decent 35% clip, and then all of a sudden you miss 10 of them, you're going to keep throwing at it because you know you can hit it.
I'm thinking more along the lines of somebody who's in a slump.
Yeah.
Who tells themselves, well, tomorrow is a new day and tomorrow it'll just kick in. I'm not sure that's quite how it works.
Okay, right, wow.
I think there's a reason you're in a slump, and I don't think it's luck.
And it's not just...
You know what I mean? It's not luck.
It's not going to fix itself.
No. I mean, you're going to have to adjust.
Just because all of a sudden you make one.
You're going to have to adjust. A light's got to go on somewhere.
All right, so who's your pick after all this ranting and raving?
Van Gerwen.
MVG, you're taking...
Oh, yeah. All right. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm on Van Gerwen and Taylor until they prove that something's going on and they can't maintain the level of play.
All right,
because they've been the most
Lewis,
consistent.
Because you had a nice little.
Lewis is actually.
I'm gonna go with your reasoning.
He'll be motivated. I'll tell you that much. He'll be motivated.
I almost went with the draw, but I'm gonna take Lewis then.
After last week, I mean, draws look really good.
Bunting against RVB.
I don't know. I mean, I think Raymond right now is a better player. Well, okay, maybe I should say I think right now Raymond's playing better.
Does Bunting come back from his abysmal?
No, he can't play any worse. No, he can't. Oh, yeah, he can't play any worse.
You know,
but he's been. I hate to say off his feed, but he has not looked good in this format yet. And it may be, he might be hitting a little bit of a wall. You think about Bunting like a year and a half ago. Kind of like toiling in the, just playing BDO tournaments. And, he kind of went here and he kind of went there and he was having a good time and he was sort of like the new guy on the scene and everything. And now it's like it's grind time. Mm-hmm. Now it's big time TV darts every week and guys are coming at you throwing 100 averages. And it's like, can you stand up to it? Because some guys haven't been able to do it. Let's face it. There are guys that are not in the Premier League this year for very good reason. I mean, they've basically been relegated. And... I mean, you look at the way Bunting's been performing lately, and you're like, geez. So I have no confidence in taking him. I have to take Raymond there.
Yeah, I'm going to take RVB too. So.
Yeah. And then the last match is Phil Taylor against Peter Wright.
Yeah. Who are you taking?
Well, again, it's like as much as I like Peter, and of all these guys, I've talked to him the most, and I like him the best. There's no way I would pick him over Taylor, even if he wins. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that Phil's just proven to be in much better form right now.
Right.
Without the pedigree.
Right.
I think it's
or his practice tactics.
Well, the mind games and stuff. I mean, I think anybody that falls for mind games, it's on them. You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes it pays to be like, I remember trying to play mind games with somebody on a golf course, and it took me 3 holes to realize the guy was deaf. It was like, well,
that's awesome.
I guess that's not going to work then. It was like some, I don't know.
So, well, and then
$50
anyway, if you happen
Nassau,
to be in Belfast tomorrow and you're looking for tickets, go to www.odysseyarena.com.
Oh, we're doing ads for these guys?
Well, why not? Because it's right there.
All right.
I'm trying to move on.
Okay, where are we on time?
Well,
are we literally?
We're done with the show.
Oh, that's great.
You got 3 minutes to talk about. You got 3 minutes to talk about what you want to talk about.
3 minutes to talk about what I want to talk about. I don't think I could do 3 minutes on that. Well, the team building thing. I'll just say this. This team that we're on, I thought.
You want to talk about that? I thought you were talking about the pay scale thing, or what?
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about, but I don't know that we could do it in 3 minutes.
Right, so we'll do it next week.
Yeah, we'll just. That's permanently on. That's like the person who always gets kicked in the green room when a better guest comes on.
Yes, exactly.
Like Charles Grodin got kicked again. Sorry, Charles.
Won't be on this week. Yeah.
Somebody like that. I don't know. Did you watch the Oscars?
I watched the first half hour. I fell asleep, and I woke up, and I watched the last 4.
We both saw Birdman.
Yeah.
You realize it won Best Picture?
Yes, I saw that.
It won
I woke
for
up, and I saw the
screenplay.
last 4 awards.
But Michael Keaton didn't win.
No.
It was the guy who looks like Stephen Hawking who got the award for being Stephen Hawking in a movie. And I'm like, oh. I don't even know what to say about that. But I'm sure it was. There were a lot of good movies that looked like they were well worth watching. Apparently 50 Shades of Grey is not one of them.
Well,
Apparently it's got like the worst reviews.
It's awful, but yet everybody's going because they all like the book.
Well, it's salacious. It's kind of racy, and it's like, ooh, look at this. Look, ooh, yeah, let's go. Yeah, and just sort of like
but yeah, it's
not seen 9.5 weeks 25 years ago.
The book wasn't a good book either, written wise.
I'm totally not surprised.
And
some of these books that are popular,
just as bad.
The writing is so bad, it's almost like people are stringing together text messages.
And apparently the movie is just as bad. But I agree. But it's
I heard they booed. People in the movie theater actually booed at the end. I don't think I've ever been to a movie
what I heard,
that
though,
happened.
it's not as racy as 9.5 weeks. So 9.5 weeks was pretty.
I have a first edition of the book. The book was
9.5 weeks.
Yeah, the book was. It's not signed, but I picked it up somewhere, and I was like, oh, cool. That movie was like, I saw that in the movie theater with my girlfriend, and we were like,
wow,
what is this?
Yeah,
we were young,
that
too.
Was 20
I was like,
years ago.
Oh, it was more than that, I think. That was like 87.
Yeah, probably. I was in
so 25 years ago, even going on 30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Movies
we
are
just
like
completely got off topic of
because we didn't have time.
Team building. I thought you wanted to talk about team building, but
in 3 minutes. I mean, it was. I can't do it.
But you actually started the sentence with the team we're on, and then we went whoop. And next thing you know, we're talking about the Oscars.
Well, because all I wanted to say is like what makes a good teammate and what doesn't make a good teammate depends on who your teammates are. I was watching the Underwear Olympics over the weekend, right? The NFL Combine. Listening to these guys evaluate this guy, and I'm looking at this guy do the drill, and I'm like, this guy's clumsy. This guy can't cut. I don't care what his time is. Look at this guy. There was one guy that was literally freaking out over the 40-yard dash, argued with the starter, stood up, got up. It took him 5 minutes so he could run some really crappy 40 time. And I'm like, dude, I wouldn't take you before you even started running. You've obviously got problems. Mm-hmm. Get down in a stance and run. It's not rocket science, dude. Yeah. And I started thinking about, how do you mix all these people together and stuff? And it's like everybody's bashing Cutler and all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't think it.
Well, I think what you're talking about.
I have no idea what's really going on with these guys, but when you're building a team, what invariably happens is that some people have to go because they don't fit because they have their own agenda or whatever.
Or you bring somebody in, and in all sports, they're the cancer in the clubhouse, whatever. But just because they're successul and good at what they do, it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. I mean, it's kind of like
you still take that chance because maybe it will, but eventually it weeds itself out.
The clubhouse cancers in league darts can't really be tolerated because everybody's trying to have a good time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So we were talking about like some team for next season, and I was like, I wouldn't want to be on that team. That just seems like a brutal night, because if your personalities on your team clash, it makes it rough. You know what I mean? And I forgot about all this because I didn't really pay attention to league darts for years and years and years. I mean, I was the guy for years that they needed because they wanted to win, so they put me on the team. I'd be like, hi, guys, and I'd go on the side, and I'd warm up, and I'd be like, okay, time to play. And please don't do that when we play cricket.
I think it goes – there's a lot about that, but it also depends on, how you – even though you like all your teammates, the teams I played on, when we started getting better collectively, and, especially me and one other guy, we both started getting better, and that's when we won nickel as a team. And then, then we went up to tungsten, and then I started realizing that the only guy that cared about getting better was the same – guy that got better with me, and then I realized, I can't be on this team anymore because these other guys are only in it for the fun night out, and even though I like these guys, it becomes discouraging.
It's discouraging
there's only
because
one other guy that cares.
You're competitive, and you don't like losing. Some people don't really seem to mind it so much, and I don't know if it's just because they don't care or they're used to it, or for me, man, I hate it. I hate losing. I hate losing more than I like winning. So I don't know what that says about me, but it's kind of that's I think by nature what makes you.
There's a lot of people out there like that. A lot of competitive people out there hate.
Yeah, I mean it's
actually I think that's a better trait. The hating to lose is better than the people that love to win, because the people that love to win make more of an ass out of themselves. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and also, it's kind of like those are the people that won't move up, right? If you love to win, well, then you're going to want to stay in a lower division so you can win.
Right.
And then you're going to move up where there's more talented players, and now you're going to have to spend more time on your game. Well, I don't want to do that. I just want to win.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Right.
There's leagues for that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That was a team building thing. There was more to it, but
right. No, I know. But
I'm just saying it's kind of like
you can almost do a whole show on it because every situation's different. And it's hard to put it's hard to put a team together, and you only play,
Our team's strange. Weeks. Our team is strange. We have two sets of brothers. Then there's you and me, right? I mean, we're not brothers, but we're close. And one other guy who's like, has ambition to be a better player, right? And it I don't know. I mean, it's kind of the brother thing. I get when I wanted to put these two guys together, and the one guy's like, I don't want to play with him. I'm like, oh, I got lots of brothers. I know how that works.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting team. So I just thought, it was going to take maybe at least a season to kind of get used to each other and stuff like that, because that's why we stink at doubles. People aren't used to playing with each other, and it's like you got to get used to it, so you got to play. And it's not like when I first started, the first team I was on, we were out there 3-0
doubles because sometimes we just don't hit anything.
Well, I think, when I'm talking about people not playing up to their like average game in doubles, is what I see. I don't see like, oh, we blew it here, we blew it there. I just see people looking a little awkward, and people looking like they're not comfortable, and people not playing to kind of the level that I think they should play based on what I've seen of their games, right? And I don't know, it's kind of interesting because I took on the responsibility of making out the lineup, right? So they put on a little manager hat for a little while and try to figure out some matchups. I don't know. It's an interesting 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Figuring that stuff out. Okay, so we'll be back next week. Lord knows what we'll talk about. I do want to talk about, though, the money league pay structure thing and how money leagues should structure payouts and stuff like that. It's on record that yes, and we'll have news too next week. There was one I didn't get it. We'll have news next week. You got anything? I'm out of breath.
Where are you going next?
Well, we were talking about that. I'm
You're going to
definitely
Indy?
going to Virginia Beach. I'm
Which
going
is
to
2 weeks
try.
from now?
I think I'm going to try to sneak over to Indy.
You're going 2 weeks from now is Virginia Beach.
Well,
Yeah.
what's
Right. And then, because
no? This weekend is nothing. The weekend after is Indy
Yeah.
that I want to sneak down to,
Right.
and then the week after that is Virginia Beach.
Right. Okay.
So that's where we're at for.
All right.
That's where I'm going.
Good luck with that.
Did I tell you somebody called me up like on Friday morning and said, "Hey, you want to go play Syracuse?"
No, you didn't tell me
I
that.
was like, "No."
Friday morning, meaning you have to leave in like a half hour?
Yeah, and then pick him up in Cleveland on the way, and then we would play doubles together. And I was just like, "Well, I got to take some time off. I can't."
Right.
Right. I've been good. I've been, I'm injured. I'm not playing right now.
Yeah, all right. Well, good luck in your picks. And
Yeah, you too. And we'll have to like tabulate everything and give everybody kind of where we're at. We'll put a little graphic up.
Great.
If I get time. All right.
Yeah, you only do that. You're only going to have time because you're winning right now.
Well, I need motivation
Yes,
sometimes.
right.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We're on TuneIn.com. We're on Stitcher.com. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. You can email the show, darttalk@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, and we will Dart Talk to everybody next week. Y'all take care.